Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Module 6 of Strategic Management course. In this journey so far, we have covered the basics of strategy and strategic management. We have talked about the strategic management process. Today, in this module, we are going to cover the first step of strategic management process, which is establishment of strategic intent. Strategic intent provide answers to the questions: why are we here? What we do? What is the purpose of our existence? All these answers are provided by our strategic intent. So this module, namely strategic fit, stretch and leverage, will help us to understand the basic concepts of fit and stretch and how these concepts can be used for formulation of our strategic intent. Strategic intent become the basis for our formulation of strategy. So, let's take a deep dive in the concepts of fit and stretch. By end of this module, participants will be able to understand the concepts of strategic fit, stretch and leverage. They will be able to comprehend strategic intent and its significance, including the hierarchy of strategic intent. They will be able to apply resource leverage techniques to maximize outcomes with limited resources. Lastly, they will be able to understand and apply balanced scorecard to align their strategy with financial and non-financial performance. Now, to understand the basic concept of fit and stretch, let's look at the case of Western companies and Japanese companies. In 1970s, Western companies were dominating majority of the sectors in the world. During this particular time, Honda was a very small player in motor industry. Similarly, Canon was a smaller player than Xerox. Also, Komatsu was much smaller than Caterpillar. Then suddenly came a time when all these Japanese companies became successful. Now what exactly happened? Why US companies lost their competitive advantage? And why Japanese companies became so successful? Let's look at the strategies adopted by these companies. If we talk about Western companies, we all know that US has abundant of resources in terms of land, capital, climate and others. There were always opportunities available in the external environment. They have used their resources in order to match with the opportunities available outside. The strategies which they have focused upon is economies of scale, number 1, and locational advantages. This have become the basis for the success of Western companies. Let's try to understand this with the help of product life cycle theory given by Raymond Vernon. According to this theory, a product is always introduced firstly in the Western and the advanced economies like US or other. Major manufacturing of this is done in US. Then demands start increasing in other advanced economies. With increase in demands, first US companies export to those advanced economies. With further increase in demands, they move their production to advanced economies in order to take advantage of economies of scale. By this time, demand also increases in developing and underdeveloped economies. Now, to penetrate into developing economies, it is very important that these companies are required to reduce their price. So, by manufacturing in US or advanced economies and then selling in developing economies makes no sense. Therefore, US companies started moving their production to low cost economies in order to take locational advantages. The main purpose of this is to achieve locational advantages. So, that has become the reason for success of various US companies. Then come upon a time when Japanese companies started becoming successful. Now, what was the reason for success of Japanese companies? We all know that Japan has always lagged in the basic resources which we were talking about were available in abundant in Western companies. They have always lagged in land, labor, capital and other natural resources. So, what they did? They created advanced resources. What comes under advanced resources? They were knowing that there are certain opportunities available in the external environment. They were having their ambition. So, in order to accomplish those goals, in order to capitalize on the opportunities, they were creating advanced resources. So, by advanced resources, we include investment in R&D, education, technology. So, what they were doing? They were basically leveraging their resource. When there is scarcity of resource, you try to use your resources to the maximum advantage. You try to create artificial or advanced resources so that you can achieve a match with the aspirations which you have. And that was the reason that why Japanese companies were able to have an edge over US companies. So, basically this case highlights the concept of fit, stretch and leverage. So, by fit we mean that there is always a gap between your resources we all know that resources are always scarce. Your resources, your capabilities, they do not suffice. They are always limited. So, in case of fit, we are just matching our resources or our strengths with the opportunities available in external environment. So, when we talk about fit, techniques such as SWOT is basically used in order to formulate a strategy, wherein we combine our strengths and opportunities. For those opportunities for which we do not have resources, we drop those ideas. And that is the reason why US companies were successful once upon a time when they were focusing on economies of scale and locational advantages. These were the basic resources which they were having. But when we talk about stretch, stretch basically talks about the gap between resources and aspirations. So, whenever there is any kind of gap, you are required to fill this gap. And how you can fill this gap? By making investment in advanced resources. And that was the reason why Japanese companies were successful. They created their own resources in order to achieve a certain kind of edge over others. And that was the reason why Honda was able to have a maximum market share, why Canon took away the competitive advantage from Xerox, and why Komatsu became a so big player in comparison to Caterpillar. So, when we are talking about fit, in fit, strategy is taken as a compromise between what the environment has got to offer in terms of opportunities and the counter offer that organization makes in form of its capabilities or strengths. However, when we talk about stretch, we talk about leveraging of the resources. By leveraging, we mean that how you are concentrating your resources to your strategic intent, accumulating learning, experiences and competencies in a manner that a scarce resource base can be stretched to meet the aspirations that an organizational resources to its environment. So, it is all about when you do not have resources. In both the cases, we are saying that resources are limited. In one case, we are just matching what we have with the aspirations or opportunities available in external environment. However, in other scenarios, we are trying to fill the gap by stretching our existing resource base. That is, we try to leverage our resource base in order to achieve our aspirations, and that is what we talk about when we talk about stretch. Now, the concept of fit and stretch has laid the foundation for another concept, that is strategic intent. So, when we are saying strategic intent, it is the first step of strategic management process. This concept has also been given by Gamal and Prahlad. This lays the foundation for strategic management process. Once we are clear with our intent, based on that we formulate strategies. Your intent provide answer to the question, why does the company exist and what it stands in the society, what are the values, where they want to go, what they do, what they believe in, all these answers are provided by strategic intent of the organization. Intent is clear about ends. You know what exactly you want to achieve. However, it is flexible to the means. There is no one way to achieve your goal. When you clear that where exactly you want to take your organization in long term, how we will go there, it is something where you have flexibility. You might have resources, you might not have resources, but what exactly you do in order to achieve your intent is part of strategy formulation, which we will be talking about in our upcoming modules. Like I said, intent is clear about ends, it is flexible as to means. There is a complete flexibility that you want to achieve plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, whatever you want to do in order to achieve your goals. Strategic intent implies a sizable stretch for an organization. As I said, that resources are always limited. So, you need to stretch your existing resource base to achieve your ends. That is, you need to leverage your resources. So, I hope with this we are clear with the difference between fit, stretch and leverage. Now, moving forward, we move to the hierarchy of strategic intent. This hierarchy of strategic intent was given by Miller in 1998. This hierarchy includes establishment of your vision, mission, goals, objectives and ultimately your plans. Your plans are part of your strategy formulation, but for formulating your plans, it is important for us to understand that what organizations strive for, where they want to go, what is their vision, mission, goals and objectives. Vision is most integrated. It is broad in nature and it is fewest in number. It's usually one. Yes, we can change our vision in the life, but usually organizations have a one vision. Once that vision will be accomplished, then but vision is something which is very long term. Very few organizations are actually able to accomplish the vision which they have formulated. So starting, we are required to have a vision which I said is broad and most integrative. At the end, we have plans which are more specific, plans for each of your objective, for each of your goal, and also their greatest is number. Starting with the first thing in strategic intent, that is your vision. Your vision provide answer to the question, where are we going and why? It is the road map of the company's future. It paints the picture for companies' future destination and provides a rationale for going there. This is one of the best definition of vision, that is, it paints the picture for company's destination and provides a rationale for going there, which means where are we going and why. It is said that the best vision is one which is within sight but just out of reach. Something which you can see, something which is within your sight but just out of reach, for which you need to put a lot of efforts in order to achieve that particular thing. This kind of vision is considered as the best vision. Repeating again, the best vision is one which is within sight but just out of reach. Initially it seems something impossible, but you can see it. But you need to put a lot of efforts in order to achieve that particular vision. Vision should be kind of a dream, and dream as defined by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, dream is not what you see in your sleep. It is something that does not let you sleep. A vision should be kind of a dream. It was in 1960 when President John F. Kennedy gave a vision to NASA. And what was that vision? That vision was that we will reach moon by end of this decade. And you know when we actually reached moon? It was in July 1969, just 6 months before that time period was about to get over. 3 people actually reached moon. That is the power of a vision. When we talk about power of a vision, I'll share one more story. Once upon a time, there were 3 people who were working with bricks and cement. A passenger was passing by. He asked the first person, "What are you doing?" The person said that, "Can't you see I am working with bricks and cements?" And he was working in a very sluggish mood, very sad mood. He was not involved in that particular work. He was just doing it because it was part of his duty. He asked the second person, "What are you doing?" The second person said, "I am building a wall." He was doing that thing in a more enthusiastic way in comparison to the first person who was doing it in a sluggish mood. He asked the third person, "What are you doing?" He said, "I am building a cathedral wall." That is the power of a vision. The third person was working in more enthusiastic and he was completely involved in that particular work. When you know that you are here not for an ordinary but for an extraordinary purpose, you will give your 100% to achieve that particular thing. And that is the reason that why all employees in the organization should know that what is the vision of that particular company, so that they can contribute the maximum which they can in order to accomplish that vision. Also during interviews, during your placement interviews, you are being asked that what is the vision of the company. Most of the times we don't know it, but it is expected that the company for which you are appearing, at least you should know that what that company believes in and where the company wants to go. So it always adds an edge if you know about the vision of the company. So Bill Gates came out with a vision, a computer on every desk and in every home. At that time, when no one was knowing what computer is. This kind of vision is something which is required. This is the power of the vision. Similarly, Steve Jobs came with a vision, every person around the globe should taste at least one Apple product. At that time, when no one was knowing that what Apple Inc. stands for. So, when we are formulating a vision, it is something which is easy to understand, but talks about that where exactly you want to take your organization. In both the cases, the vision has not been accomplished yet, but yes, many people now can relate to this particular vision. That is when no one was knowing about these products, and today when many people are using it. Then second we have our mission statement. Mission statement tells the purpose and reason for organization existence. It provides answer to the question, what we do? Why are we here? What is our purpose? What do we believe in? Thompson has defined mission as essential purpose of the organization concerning that why it is in existence, the nature of the business it is in, and the customers it seeks to serve and satisfy. Your mission basically defines the scope of your business. For example, the mission of Kodak is to provide customers with the solution they need to capture, store, process, output and communicate images anywhere, anytime. So this mission statement basically talks about that what the company is doing for the customer. Your mission should always answer that what the company do for their customers. Similarly, if we look at the mission of Nirma, a customer focused company committed to consistently offer better quality products and services that maximize value to the customers. In both the statements, we can see that the mission statement is something which is providing answer to the question that what company is doing in order to satisfy their customers. It's not about the product which they are selling. It's not about the services which they are into. It's about the solutions which they are offering to the problems of customers. So that should be kind of a mission statement. Now moving forward, looking at certain characteristics of mission statement. It should be something which is realistic and achievable. In case of vision, we said it should be more of a dream, difficult to achieve. But in mission statement, we are saying it should be realistic and it should be something which can be achievable. If it is unrealistic, then definitely it is not going to motivate the employees. It should be something which should be realistic. For example, IKEA mission to offer a wide range of well-designed functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford it. So the mission statement talks about the stylish furniture which companies wants to offer at affordable rates. So it's mentioning that what company is doing in order to provide or in order to satisfy the customers. That is, they aim to provide affordable prices furniture to their customers. So this is something which is realistic as well as achievable. Second characteristic is that it should neither be too broad nor be too narrow. If it will be too broad, we will not be able to define the scope of our business. If it is too narrow, we will be restricting our scope. So it should be something neither be so broad nor too narrow. For example, Google mission to organize world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. If we look at this mission statement, it's neither too broad nor too narrow, but defining that what company is doing in the respective industry. So that kind of mission statement is required. Thirdly, it should not be ambiguous. It should be clear. It should not be vague that what exactly company is doing. Tesla mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, very clearly defining that the purpose of company is to focus on sustainable energy. It should be something which is distinct. It should not be general, something unique. Just by reading you can relate, okay, this is the mission of this particular company. So that USP, that differentiation should be reflected in a mission statement. Then it should have a societal linkage. Societal linkage means how company is socially relevant, what company is doing for the society. Let's take example of Tata Group. We start our day with Tata tea. We wear lifestyle clothes. We wear Titan watch, Tanishq jewelry. We use Tata Namak. We drive Tata cars made from Tata steel. We commute through Tata buses. We stay in Taj hotels. Tata has completely invaded our life to the fullest. This is how it is socially relevant. So you have to make sure in a mission statement that how your company is socially relevant, what they are doing for the society. Unilever mission to make sustainable living commonplace. So here they are talking about the sustainability which the company focus on in each and every strategy of theirs. Sustainability is something which has been integrated with their core business strategy. So your mission should always reflect that how company is socially relevant. Lastly, it should be something which should motivate the employees. A mission statement should always give certain kind of motivation. Example, Nike mission to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. So the kind of motivation the employees will have, that how they are contributing in inspiring the worldwide athletes. So that kind of motivation is required. Moving forward, now let's look at the statement and try to identify that what of the problems are highlighted in the mission statement. Firstly, to eliminate all forms of poverty worldwide by 2025. This mission is something which is lacking the realistic and achievable part. This seems to be more unrealistic and something which cannot be achieved, because worldwide within a year you cannot end the poverty. So this kind of mission statement is something which we say that should not be there because it is unrealistic and unachievable. Secondly, to produce the finest organic vanilla beans in Madagascar. Now, what do you think? What is the problem in the mission statement? The problem here is that it is too restricted, too narrow, where the scope is restricted. You cannot expand to this particular mission because it is defining that we are going to produce the finest organic vanilla beans, too restricted. Third, to provide quality products and services to our customers. The problem in this particular mission statement is that it is too general, not unique. This can be mission of any company. What is special in this? So that uniqueness is lacking. Then, to maximize shareholder return, something which is not socially relevant. You are only focusing on your financial goals. Last statement, to lead in the market with best solution. Too vague. It is so ambiguous, not clear what exactly the company is wanting to do. What does the best solution mean? So, these are certain problems which we have highlighted, based on which we can say that what are the important characteristics which a mission statement should have. I hope the important characteristics are clear to you all. Moving forward, now when we are required to formulate a mission statement, it's important that we should define our organizational business. And I said earlier, we should always define our business by focusing on our customers rather than product. Like, you need to identify who is being satisfied, that is, who is your customer group, your target market. Then, you need to focus on what is being satisfied, that what are the customer needs you are going to address, what kind of solution you are providing to the problems which customers are facing. Thirdly, how are customer needs being satisfied? What kind of solution in terms of technology, services, your product, what you are going to provide in order to satisfy those needs. This should define the scope. These are the three elements which should definitely be there in any of the mission statement. This framework has been given by Abel, says that if you want to formulate a business definition, if you want to formulate a mission statement, you should focus on these three parameters. For example, Smith Corona and Underwood, they define that they are in business of production of typewriters. When technology changed, when customer taste and preferences change, when people started liking mainframe computers rather than typewriters, at that particular point of time, this company failed because they defined that we are in business of production of typewriters, and typewriters are something which were made obsolete by computers. On the other hand, IBM, which was a leader in typewriters, they defined their business as providing a means for information processing and storage. So, when there was change in taste and preferences of customers, when computers emerged, this was the first company which was able to start with producing mainframe computers, and they succeeded with the change in the environmental trend. That is what I am trying to say. When we define our business in terms of the product or service we are providing, we will not be able to change the scope of the business in case of change in the environment. However, when we define the business in terms of customer needs, we will always be able to succeed with that particular change. I hope this difference is clear to you all now. Now, let us read these two statements. One is vision and one is mission. These two statements are of General Motors. Let us try to identify which one is vision and which one is mission. So, the first statement, if we will see, GM is a multinational corporation engaged in socially responsible operations worldwide. It is dedicated to provide products and services of such quality that our customers will receive superior value, while our employees and business partners will share in our success, and our stockholders will receive a sustained superior return on their investment. Something which is defining the scope, what the company is doing to satisfy their customers, is what is being reflected in this statement. If we look at the other statement which says, over the past 100 years, GM has been a leader in the global automobile industry, and the next 100 years there will be no different. GM is committed to leading the industry in alternative fuel propulsion. So, if we read at this statement, this talks about the future, that what exactly the future is for General Motors. This is focusing on your present and this statement is focusing on future. So therefore, we can say that this statement is our vision statement, which is providing answer to the question, where are we going? What exactly we want to do for our company's future? And this is our mission statement, which defines our scope and our customers, focusing on present. Now, if we look at the difference, we can say that vision provides where we are going and why. It focuses on our future, whereas mission focus on current business activities. Who are we? What we do? Why are we here? It focuses on future markets to be pursued. It focuses on future technology, product or customer focus. Mission focus on your current products, current customer needs, current technology. So in one line, we can say a vision is a future oriented mission statement. Repeating again, we are saying a vision is a future oriented mission statement. Now, let's look at few other examples. These are the two statements. One is vision, one is mission. You have to identify which one is vision and which one is mission. So, to become a worldwide leader in retailing and to help customers save money so that they can live better, can you identify the company whose statements these are? These statements are of Walmart. The first one is a vision because it is talking about what you want to become. Second one is a mission where we are saying how the company can save money so that people can live better life, what you are doing for the current customers. Other statement, to provide any customer a means of moving people and things up, down, sideways over short distances with higher reliability than any other similar enterprise. This is something which is talking about what company is doing for the customers. So therefore, it's a mission statement. And the company is Otis Glass Elevator. See the way they have explained their business to provide any customers a means of moving people and things up, down, sideways, shorter distances, very unique way of defining the business. Then, to be world's leading producer and provider of entertainment and information. Second statement, to make people happy, very small statement. This is something which talks about future. So, this is vision. This is something which talks about what they are doing right now. They are trying to make people happy. And the statements are of Walt Disney. So, with this, I hope you are very clear with the difference between vision and mission. Next, moving to goals and objectives. They are the end result which an organization want to achieve. They are the benchmark or the yardstick against which your performance can be measured. Goals and objectives are often used interchangeably, but there is a difference between the two terms. Goals are more subjective. They are more qualitative in nature. And they are usually not time bound. But when we say about objectives, they are definitely more objective, specific, they are quantitative, something which can easily be measured, and most importantly, they are always time bound. So, repeating again, when we talk about goals, they are more qualitative in nature, which are difficult to quantify. To increase profitability can be your goal. Objectives, they are more quantitative in nature, which can be measured and have a time frame. To increase profitability in 2025 over 2024 by 10%. Now, it is a specific objective. Goals will be more subjective wherein how you are going to measure profitability will vary from person to person. Objectives are more specific, more quantitative and have a time frame. So, this is the main difference between a goal and an objective. So, if we have to define the characteristics of objectives, in one word we can say we should always have SMART objectives, which means specific, measurable, attainable, result oriented and time bound. These are certain characteristics of objective statement. They should always be specific to a particular thing, what exactly you want to achieve. It should be measurable, even if it is something which is qualitative in nature or which are difficult to measure. You need to have a proxy in order to measure it. For example, if your objective is with respect to brand loyalty, something which cannot be measured, how are we going to measure this brand loyalty? We can look at the customer retention rate, or we can look at the repeat purchases. This will help us to see about the brand loyalty. Similarly, if your objective is with respect to employee satisfaction, something which is difficult to measure. So, what kind of proxy can be used for measuring employee satisfaction? It can be your employee turnover rate, their absenteeism rate, or you can also do some kind of employee engagement survey, and you can take the score of it in order to see whether the employees are satisfied or not. Or your objective is with respect to your innovation capability. This you can measure using maybe amount invested in R&D, number of patents, or sales of new products or innovative products. So, this can help you to measure your innovation capability. So, what I am trying to say is that we need to quantify each and every objective. If the objective cannot be quantified, we cannot measure it, we cannot see its progress. So, to gauge the progress of that particular objective, it is important that we have to use a proxy measure if it cannot be quantified. Moving forward, we have different types of objectives in the organization. We have financial objectives and strategic objectives. Financial objectives include your ratios, which can be your profitability ratios, liquidity ratios, efficiency ratios, or market based ratios. You can look at the earning growth, at what rate your earning is growing. Financial objective can be in terms of EVA, which is economic value added, which is a better financial measure as it focuses on long term value to the organization. It talks about the wealth maximization. Then we have EPS, which is earnings per share. Your financial objective can be in terms of stock price, dividend growth, market value added, and cash flows, or any other financial measure. When we talk about strategic objective, the examples could be additional market share, overtaking your key competitors, improving your product quality, better product selection, building reputation, technological leadership, and ultimately sustainable competitive advantage. It is usually said that strategic objectives should be overemphasized in the organization in comparison to financial objectives. What do you think? What could be the reason behind it? Why strategic objectives are more important? The problem with financial objective is that they are short term. They focus on short term profitability, where as strategic objectives focus on your long term growth and your competitive advantage. For example, company like Amazon, they always give priority to market dominance and customer satisfaction rather than their short term profitability in order to focus on long term success of the organization. Many startups nowadays, their focus is to achieve economies of scale. Their focus is to have more number of customers rather than focusing on short term profitability. So therefore, strategic objectives are more better in comparison to financial objectives. Other reason could be your financial objectives can be easily copied by your competitor, and this is something which gives you differentiation. Thirdly, financial objectives are lagging indicators, which means they capture past performance and do not predict future performance, whereas strategic objectives are leading indicators. It helps to predict future performance. So, if you focus on your strategic objectives, your financial objectives will automatically be accomplished. Therefore, organizations should always focus on achieving the strategic objectives as they focus on long term, as they gives you certain kind of differentiation, and also they are leading indicators which can help to forecast your future performance, and it will automatically leads to accomplishment of your financial objectives. Now, we will move to the next topic, which is balance scorecard. Balance scorecard is a technique which is used for goal setting as well as for controlling. This technique has been given by Kaplan and Norton from Harvard Business School. It is a combination of financial and non-financial performance parameters. It focuses on those factors that provide long-term value in the organization. So, a balanced scorecard includes setting objectives in 4 broad areas, which includes your financial, that is, what you are doing to satisfy your shareholders; customers, that is, how you are serving or satisfying your customer; internal business process, what business processes you should excel at; there are different types of internal business processes. It could be your supply chain, it could be your customer relationship management, it could be your production, it could be your assembling, it could be your marketing. So, you need to figure out that in which particular area you need to work. Then we have 4th area, which is learning and growth, which is with respect to your employees. What you are doing to satisfy your employees. So, according to balance scorecard, you are required to set your objectives in these 4 broad areas. Repeating again, financial, that is your shareholders, what we are doing for the financial performance of the company; customers, that how we should appear to our customers; internal business process, focusing on the type of business processes we have in the organization; learning and growth, what we are doing for the employees. In all the 4 areas, you are required to set 4 things. Number 1, objectives, what exactly you want to achieve. This will be your target against which you are going to compare your performance. Measures, how you are going to quantify it. Targets, the number, what exactly you want to achieve. 5%, 10%, number 1 position, number 2 position, or whatever it is. And last, initiatives. What initiatives you are going to use in order to accomplish your objective. In all the 4 areas, you are required to set these 4 things: objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives. So these are some of the generic measurements which we use for all the domains. Financial, it could be your return on capital, economic value added, sales growth, cash flow. These can be your objectives. Customer perspective, your customer satisfaction, retention, acquisition, profitability, market share, everything from customer's point of view. Your internal perspective, focus on innovation, operation, post-sale services, etc. Learning and growth, where measurements are for people, your employee retention, their training, their skills, their morale. Now let's read this particular case. ABC, a 1 billion auto part subsidiary, fell from 2nd to 4th in their market share. The company has basically set a goal of 12% ROI. Along with that, they want to work in growth, customer intimacy, operational excellence. The key action areas which they have identified is manufacturing, distribution, marketing and sales, R&D, and workforce development. Now we need to create a balanced scorecard for this particular company. So to start with, we are going to start with the first objective in financial, that is increasing ROI. Under that, you need to focus on other financial objectives like reducing unit cost, increasing asset utilization, growing revenue. All these are part of your financial objectives. After financial objectives, you need to work on the customer objective segment. That is what customers want from us. They want that the product should be delivered on time, they should be able to achieve image of trusted supplier, better customer relationship, and the company should supply innovative product. This is what our customers want from us. So in customer perspective, you always have to set objectives that what customers want. In process, you need to understand that what could be the customer needs. Improving manufacturing efficiency, which was mentioned as part of case, improving supplier relation, upgrading equipment, building distribution network, excelling at product development. All these are objectives under process. And lastly, we have learning and growth. What we can do in order to satisfy our employees. Once we set the objectives, we are required to have a certain kind of link and flow. Like this objective will help in achieving our ultimate objective of increasing ROI. If we deliver on time, it will help us to achieve this objective. If we are able to achieve image of trusted supplier, it will help to increase our ROI. Enhancing customer relationship will also help to improve our image. If we try to become innovative supplier, it will help to increase our revenue. In this way, you are required to have a flow kind of thing in order to have a clear picture that what is expected and which objective will lead to what. And so on. Then we will be setting the measures. Measures are all mentioned in the case. So I am not going to spend time on these measures. It's already mentioned in the case. So to wrap up with this, what is the purpose of doing balanced scorecard? It helps to gain executive consensus and clarity about the strategy. By converting a general strategy into specific measures which can be understood by everyone. It provides a clear picture of how all the various functions need to work together to achieve their strategic objectives. You can communicate the strategy to everyone in the company so that they know that what is expected from them, what is their role to play. You can also use it for performance management or performance appraisal. You can give rewards to those who are meeting the targets, and if not, they can be given some training. And lastly, it can be used as a controlling tool. So with this, we wrap up with our session on the topic strategic fit. I hope you all are clear with the basic concepts and intent in the organization. Thank you everyone for your
I am A.K. Sharma and I am professor of sociology at IIT Kanpur. The question I am going to address is what is urbanization? Urbanization is essentially the process of population concentration, which means that if more people start living in a smaller number of places, or if the distribution of population becomes more unequal, like more people living in places like Bombay, Calcutta, Mexico, then we say that the urbanization is taking place. Essentially, it means increase in percentage of population living in areas or localities which are defined as urban. Urbanization is a new phenomenon, of course, a post-industrial phenomenon. About 200 years ago, hardly 5% population of the world lived in urban areas, and today more than 50% population of the world is living in urban areas or localities which are classified as urban. You will be happy to know that according to 2011 census of India, in our own country for the first time, increase in the urban population has been greater than the increase in the rural population, though India is not so urban as the developed countries, and about 31% population of India only is living in urban areas. We can believe that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years time, India will also be more urban, at least more urban than what it is. It may not be 80%, but certainly it will be 35% or 40%. Now, how is this urban locality defined? Because this definition of locality as urban or rural is crucial to measure level of urbanization. I will give you definition of our own country. In Indian census, an urban locality is defined in two ways. There are statutory towns and there are census towns. All places with municipality, municipal corporation, cantonment or notified town area committees are called urban. This is statutory definition. According to demographic definition, there are three main criteria. If a locality has more than 5,000 people or 75% of male labor force is engaged in non-agricultural activities, or the density of population is 400 per square kilometer or 1000 per square mile, then we say that the locality may be classified as urban. There are many other additions to this definition. Now, we have the concept of urban agglomeration and many other things, but essentially this is how urban population is defined in India. And as I said that urbanization is associated with economic development and industrialization, same is the case with India. About 100 years ago in India only 11% people were living in urban areas, today 31% are living in urban areas, and this is obviously linked with economic development of the country, growth of per capita income and industrialization. I remember that in one 5-year plan it was mentioned that today this urban population can grow by way of natural increase of births minus deaths in the urban areas itself or through rural to urban migration. Today nearly 60% contribution to growth of urban population is due to rural to urban migration, and this is going to increase. This is essentially what urbanization means. Urbanization means growth of population in localities defined as urban in relation to population of localities defined as rural, and I have given you Indian definition. Thank you very much.